Welcome to another episode of Commercial Real Estate Uncovered. I am here with Devin Karpes. Your company's name is True Traction, and you are an AI consultant.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Now, I met Devin. We're part of a group called EO Entrepreneurs Organization. I actually really got to know you a little more at our Adventure to Rise, that music festival where we got winded out. That was an adventure. You and your wife fit the part, though, of music festivals out in the desert really well. Your wife was dressed in like this big fur coat, and I was like, but no, that was fun because those events are sometimes like the first time where you meet people's families and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So thanks for taking the time to come sit down with me and talk about what you do and some AI things.
Of course. Thanks.
So I want to give a little bit about your background so people know you've got, you're credible at this. I know I've known you for a while, but I know AI is this like hot topic right now. Everybody's excited about it. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how'd you get into starting consulting for businesses with AI? And I think it's ChatGPT more specifically.
A bit of everything, but so basically I've been an entrepreneur my whole life, hence our engagement in EO. And my previous business was an AI tech product. It was personalized video software.
Okay.
The AI stuff was left to our developers. I'm not a technical person. I'm not a developer. And basically, the AI boom hit 2022. ChatGPT comes out, and I just, as the leader of the business, got overly excited, and I just started pushing every single tool to my tech and production team. And basically, they were subscribing to all these tools, and only a handful of them we actually used. So at the end of the month, $5,000 in subscriptions. And I'm like, what are we using? I'm very excited. And they are like, well, you're overwhelming us. We can't be asked to learn 100 new tools. And I took a step back, and I was like, maybe I'm looking at AI wrong, and I shouldn't be looking at it as a tech initiative. I should be looking at it as a leadership initiative. So I was only using at that point ChatGPT, and then I'd gotten into Claude, and Claude being another LLM. And I started using ChatGPT as my strategic partner in business, helping me with pricing models and strategic decisions and what have you. And when I started doing this, I started seeing traction. And I wasn't pushing tools onto them. And I was like, this one tool, if used correctly.
You mean ChatGPT?
ChatGPT.
Okay.
Can be 80% of everything you need as a business leader. And that's what I honed in on. So I started developing my own skills, from prompt engineering to just learning all the features inside of ChatGPT. And I realized that this is a massive opportunity because other business owners, founders like me, need to be learning these skills and harnessing the power to help them lead better, make faster decisions, and just get the most out of ChatGPT as opposed to just asking it random questions.
And ChatGPT, I mean, it's like, I think a lot of tools that people use, they put it in there to, hey, help me write this email, or just fact checking. Maybe I use it to ask questions all the time. Like I'll use it, hey, what are some direct flights to the city that maybe I don't fly to? And like it scrapes the data pretty quick and that, but like what are some things like in ChatGPT that, without giving all your secret sauce, because I know you this is what you started your company, and I love as you said, the true traction with it. Yeah. But what are some, let's start with mistakes. What are some mistakes that you see that business people are using the tool and they think, hey, I'm using ChatGPT every day, but they're not using it properly? I think it's like anything. If you're not using it right, what's the point of using it?
So I think two things come to mind. One is when and why to use it. So everyone knows they should be using it, and they're just, as you say, scratching the surface. Hey, find me a flight here, I'll ask a question there. And it's more transactional.
So the stuff I use it for.
But so that's the one aspect, is like when you can actually be harnessing the power of it. And I hear crazy stories of guys getting a better deal on car repairs because they used it in negotiation. I've used it for negotiation in many cases and saved so much money. But it's rubbish in, rubbish out. Bullshit in, bullshit out.
Sure, okay.
So when it comes to what you're asking,
thanks
how you're asking.
American terms. No,
I've got to watch my
No, I'm sorry.
South African language. No. If you're asking bad questions, the wrong questions, then it's going to be a surface level tool. if you're really diving in deep and using it to uncover bottlenecks or help you with strategy and give you more creative ideas. Now, the one thing I just want to emphasize is that the most important thing is that you don't want to rely on it for everything. You are still the leader. You are the leader of your business. You are the leader driving the AI. The AI is there to accompany you and be a very good partner, but it certainly mustn't be left to lead the way. AI doesn't think. It's just a prediction engine. Human beings think. We'll get to a point where there's AGI or ASI, and that's artificial general intelligence. But as it stands now, generative AI, it is predicting the next best word based on pattern recognition.
Interesting. Okay. They what were the three that you just used? Two acronyms. What are those? General.
Oh, so AGI is artificial general intelligence, and that's what like everyone's working towards.
Okay.
If you think about it as like a human brain, right? We have human thinking, and right now we have generative AI, which is your LLM, which is a large language model, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Gemini, etc. And if you think in terms of a brain, our brains are composed of multiple components. An LLM is one component. So to get to a point where AI can actually think and reason like a human being, you need to have all the other components in place.
Wow.
So that's a while away, in my opinion.
ChatGPT is a tool, and the mistakes people are using is they just haven't been trained how to use it properly. Not even like the way that you're addressing it, maybe to ask questions. Like you should be asking a question in a certain format and in a certain way for it to do the right question. It's like, I remember when I was in high school, early 2000s, like when search engines came out, and I had a computer class. I was doing the Cisco networking class that my high school offered. It was a 2-year program, and we just started out with how to properly use search engines, and we were using, I can't remember it, but like using the plus sign, like one thing plus this would search differently than literally just typing in what's the capital of a city or something like that. So by doing that, though, it made me a lot more proficient in just search engines, and I know they've come a long way in 20 years. So you don't.
Although I was going to give the exact example.
Oh, you
want to say like 27 years later, and people still don't know how to like ask the right questions of Google to get the answers, right? So, and now it's even more important than ever because ChatGPT like really makes a massive difference the more context you give. And I keep referring to like prompt engineering, but it actually is context engineering. The more and better the context you give it, the best way to think of like AI or an LLM is you've just hired Einstein in your business. Okay, you've got the most intelligent thing in your business without context. If he doesn't know your culture, what you do, how you do it, your systems, what could be improved, what needs improving, your company org chart, things like that. If you don't give context for whatever the ask is, the specific task at hand, you're going to get a very vague answer. It's got this broad knowledge. ChatGPT has been trained on, I think, over 10 trillion tokens. A little token is like 3/4 of a word.
Well, it still makes mistakes. I mean, I'll ask it to run. I use it a lot for running like lease analysis. So like I just use the example because my business, commercial real estate, will represent a tenant on a space, and I'm just making up numbers here. It's like 50,000 square feet at this dollar amount, and there's percentage increases every year and an additional like CAM fee or triple net fee. And I ask it to do a spreadsheet for me. And most of the time it's accurate, but I always double check it with my phone calculator here just to make sure. And there's, it's wrong often. It's close, but when I'm sending that stuff to a client, the numbers need to be right, because if you screw up on like a couple cents a square foot for 10 years on a big space, that's a lot of money, and they're going to be mad at you. We'll get into like what people should be doing, but what are some just kind of basic things that you see that most like the general population that people use get right? I mean, is it like spell check or like, I don't know, it could be the most mundane like thing. I'm just curious if you see a trend that
grammatically it's good. Like if your inputs have the incorrect spelling, incorrect grammar, etc., it's like you don't have to go past and fix that. It's really good at like understanding, okay, cool, he meant to say this word or that word or what have you.
This is the whole reason I wanted you on this podcast. What is it with ChatGPT and those minus signs that they put in everything?
Oh, the M dashes.
M dashes. I can't get rid of those for the life of me. That's where a comma goes. It just
it's a very, very difficult thing to do. I've seen a lot of people online, like professional writers, saying that they hate that everyone's complaining about the M dashes because grammatically it is the right thing to use. To be honest with you, I don't even know where on the keyboard to type an M dash.
I just think it's a minus sign is what I call
minus, but that's a short dash. That's like just a, But so you've got professional writers saying, no, this is right. But in language like I speak, I've never used one. You've never used one. No one else has ever used one. There are ways to get rid of them, but it's very difficult because that is in its like core DNA. Although when you're asking, most people are just like, please remove the M dashes or don't use M dashes ever again. And it'll do it for like a moment in time and then it doesn't and it forgets and what have you. But if you're more explicit, and this goes to anything when giving context or prompting or what have you, is being very explicit in the ask. So like something like, please never use M dashes. I do not want M dashes ever to appear in my text. Instead of M dashes, do this. Incorrect, give a sentence with an M dash. Correct, replace it with commas, periods, etc., etc. So just being a lot more detailed gets it to you. But I've got it in my custom instructions. I put it in every single prompt. I put it in every instruction, and it's still there. You can easily remove them with one simple prompt thereafter.
What is that? A custom instruction?
So when you're setting up your ChatGPT, you can set custom instructions. So you go to your settings, personalization, and you can tell it who you are, a little bit about yourself. This is outside of memory. Think of it as like this hierarchy. So as you know, a lot of LLMs have memory and they can remember past conversations and a whole lot of stuff about you. And remembering over time, they'll remember that Eric has a dog. They'll remember that you're married or not married, if you have kids, etc., if you've input that, right? Your custom instructions in your settings, you can set the tone you want it to respond, how you like it to act, a little bit of information about you. So it's just getting to know you. And you want to set that. So in there, I've said, please never ever use M dashes. And I've given a whole long spiel. I haven't just put, please don't ever use M dashes. I've given a whole spiel about it, and it still does. So
let's talk about, I guess, be a little bit of a shout out for what you do. I know you know the stuff inside out and backwards. Still learning, I'm sure. But what, like, if somebody wants to come to you and hire you to help them implement ChatGPT or some other AI tools to help them whatever problem they have. I mean, run their business more efficiently, or maybe they have a specific problem they need to solve. I know it can streamline a lot of things. What's like the first thing you do? So we'll just use me for an example. I'm a commercial real estate broker, and I have a team, and we have some paid employees and some agents. What would kind of the first step be where I come to you and say, hey, we've got a lot of people doing data entry and searching the internet. Like, we would love to streamline some of this stuff. Like, what are some questions you would ask or some points you would make to talk to me?
Great question. So what I do is comprised of, like, I would say 3 aspects. There's a literacy aspect where it's for leaders and their teams, just to get them literate on certain tools, LLMs, how to use them, how to do prompt engineering, all the features inside of ChatGPT. A lot of people don't even touch on a ton of the features inside of all LLMs, but there's a lot going on in there that, if you know how to use, can be very powerful. So there's the literacy aspect. Then there's building out custom tools inside of ChatGPT based on specifics. So you're asking, like, what questions would we ask? I would first have a kickoff call with everyone, and we understand your goals and where you're going and what you want and how you want your life to look in terms of your business and your company and your org chart and what have you. And once we've got that, then we start unlocking things that maybe you don't even know exist through correct prompting and ideating and strategic thinking and what have you. So there's like this absolute mindset shift of where and how and why we should be using the tool. Then we start using it, we start unlocking a lot. Those unlock, okay, here's where inefficiencies are. Now we can actually rank those inefficiencies via priority based on your goal. So it's like, okay, cool. Our goal is to hit X amount of revenue next year. This will be the most impactful thing to solve. So now we can just like remove the noise, focus on what matters, and then we use the tool to elaborate on that. And we will unlock even more. And then we can actually start building our tools. Things from custom GPTs, those are like trained versions of ChatGPT on your knowledge base.
Would that be for like a specific thing? I'm just trying to put a real world example. So for me, a letter of intent, like let's call it a sale letter of intent, not a purchase agreement that's binding, but just a couple page document that says we'll pay this much and under these terms. Like, would you build a GPT?
That would be a perfect use case.
Okay.
So we would say, okay, cool. Here's some standard examples. You always want to give a few examples.
Okay.
You can say, here's an example. Structurally, it needs to follow this structure. And when I start or when I engage with you, the custom GPT, I want you to ask me the following questions. And then you can ask it to give you your inputs. Now, there's a million ways to structure different GPTs. But for that is one repeatable task you're probably doing 3-4 times a day. You can build a GPT for that. And then it's like, give it its inputs. Hey, this is the location, this is the cost, this is this. And then it can draw up that based on previous examples because it's been trained to do that one job.
So you will build out individual GPTs. Is that the right way to say it?
Absolutely.
For a lease analysis, a lease letter of intent, a purchase agreement. Like
correct. You could potentially build one that can handle all of those, but you do want to, for example, I've built ones that are like SOP builders. Then I've built others that help read the SOP so that people in the organization can just like query any process and it'll be like, okay, cool. This is what the next step in this.
Do people hire you on a project basis, or do you prefer to work with people like on a retainer?
It's ongoing. It's a monthly retainer.
Okay.
The components that are involved, I haven't even gotten to the third component. So there's the literacy, which to me is the most powerful thing. Because if your whole team, you as the leader and your whole team are able to like really harness the power of an LLM, the whole company gets elevated. If you're using it for the right things in the right way. Then there's the building of the tools. So now just everyone becomes more efficient because it's not replacing, but it's making everyone's task that they would have been doing. I've cut down processes and costs from like literally something that would take 15 days to 3 hours. Because of like workflows that we've built. So it's like a connected workflow. First run this GPT, then do that deep research, feed the output from that into this GPT, and then it'll develop a whole strategy around something. So we train these like entire workflows comprised of these. And that's all the work inside of ChatGPT. Then we've got an automation arm. So i.e. we can connect on programs like Zapier, N8N, Make.com, and our team is proficient in all. They can integrate any software with one another so that they can talk and things can be automated. All the way from simple, okay, our onboarding process is send an onboarding email with the following instructions. Then we have to send an invoice. Then they have to sign the invoice. Then they have to do this. And those are all little softwares where a human being normally is in between each step. You can automate that. And that's automations. And then you have this word AI automations, which everyone's dubbing as automations. Automations have been around for a very, very long time before AI and now AI agents. And you can add in these AI intelligent nodes within the automation. So I'll give you an example. I send out to a client after every meeting just an email with action items. I then have to normally take the action items that pertain to me and I put them into my ClickUp, which is what I use for my operations and my to-do list. We've set up an automation. Now, Gmail connects to ChatGPT, so it sees the email going out. ChatGPT can recognize what is for me, and then it can post that to my to-do list on ClickUp, so I don't have to manually go and enter everything in.
Well, first of all, that's really wild that that's all automated because, I mean, automation's great, but the AI adds an element. And like, I'll give you an example. I'm doing a deal with a manufacturer right now, and their whole billing is ran by these 3 people. The office smells like cigarette smoke because they smoke in there. And they've probably been the same 3 people for 25 years that's sitting there. When the job's done, the tech calls them, they type out the invoice on their old computer, print it out, put it in the mail, email it. I mean, they're probably using QuickBooks from 20 years ago,
Okay.
which is fine. But that's all stuff that can just, a tech goes out and clicks a button. Hey, I completed this task. Here's the picture, and it goes up, and then that all just gets automated, I would assume. That's pretty incredible.
So as I say, the automation aspect has been around for ages. And most of the time when people talk about AI automations, it's just general automations. But now, because of LLMs, you can add in this intelligent component. And then you can also build what are called agents. And agents, like if you think about an automation, it's linear and it's predefined. A human being has said, when this happens, do this. If this happens, do that. If that. And then you can add ChatGPT so that it can interpret the wording and write up a new nice email or what have you in between. An agent, you're basically saying, here's the goal. I've attached a set of tools to you. A tool could be anything from like different components of Gmail, Slack, whatever, millions and millions. And here's the goal. Go off and do it in the most efficient way. AI can recognize what tools it needs to call upon to achieve the goal.
Do you see companies, you mentioned Slack, it's a tool we use, but there's companies like Basecamp, and if you don't know what those are, I know you do, but if someone's listening, it's essentially like team management, project management tools where instead of sending a million emails back and forth, you can update the progress of something just in one form. So if somebody needs to do something, they'll get notified by email. They can log in and do what they need to do or add a file. Are you seeing that companies like Slack and Basecamp and Gmail and Microsoft Exchange, I can mention a million of them, that they're like really open and willing to work with other platforms? Like ChatGPT is the one we're talking about, that these companies are open to collaborating with other AI companies.
So a lot of them, one, have developed their own AI inside of their software. Slack being one of them, ClickUp being another, Monday.com. They've all got an AI component. But in ChatGPT and Claude and all, there are things called connectors. So they're like pre-built integrations so that you don't have to link through Zapier, your ChatGPT to this tool, etc. And Slack is one of them, Gmail, Drive, etc. So I've got all of these tools connected to my ChatGPT. So a great use case, I operate everything through Slack and email, and all my files and everything sits in either Notion or my Google Drive.
So you're not logging into
At any point, I can just have a conversation with chat and say, okay, I've got this upcoming meeting. Please pull everything from Slack, everything from my Gmail, every interaction with this client. Let me know if there's any action items I've missed this week, what I should be doing, help me with the agenda for the meeting. And it now has access to all of these. And because of its generative nature, it can now generate a beautiful agenda. What questions should I be asking? How should I lead this next conversation? So coming to your point, yes, they're all open to it. And every week, ChatGPT introduces new connectors. Claude, funnily enough, for a while has had a lot more. ChatGPT's lagged a little bit behind there, but they all just like leapfrog each other.
They're all trying to win.
Exactly.
Well, I asked that question because I use a CRM called Client Look, and I'm just so integrated with it that switching just like the concept of doing it. And there's other ones that, and I'm not knocking Client Look here, so don't turn my account off. Someone's listening. I'll give you an example. Google used to have a Google link to it, so I could put a Gmail account on my phone, and all the contacts from Client Look would be in my phone just through like a Gmail account. And Google decided to shut that off.
Okay.
I don't know if they own their own CRM or not, but that was a big that really stunk because I don't want to have to go into like the app and then click it and call it. It just makes one extra step, and we don't want extra steps. We want less steps when we're doing things. So that's incredible. So let's say you're on your phone. Is there what apps are you running through? I know you just mentioned a couple, but like, do you have one app that's like your go-to, or do you only run 3 or 4 apps, or do you keep all these things on your phone?
You're asking in terms of like AI apps?
Yeah, sorry. I'll be more specific. So like, I know you can send emails through some of these platforms that we just talked about. So like Basecamp, or that, like there's an ability to like go into the portal. Let's say you're working on a project with a client. You can like send them an update that will get emailed to them. And it kind of looks like it comes from your email, but it's being done through the portal on like Basecamp. Do you like log into those, or are you able to like do this stuff through some third party app that's like one go to, and you're just like this magic app that does that question make sense? It makes sense to me. So I hope I'm relaying this clearly.
So I personally don't do that. I use my Gmail to send email, and I can also send email from my CRM.
Okay.
But I did come across, and now I forget the name, but there was a software I just downloaded, which basically sits on your desktop, not on your mobile, and it brings in all of the communication apps that you use. So your Gmail, your Slack, your WhatsApp, your message, etc., and it's all in one thing. So whenever there's a notification, you're seeing it come into one app, and then you can.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
But again, it's reprogramming the way we work as individuals. Before we started this podcast, I was joking about, it's funny, as technology has changed, we're talking about how like text messaging used to be the T9 on the little flip phones, and as things have evolved, you had BlackBerry Messenger and iMessage and WhatsApp and all these things where you're learning how to use these tools as they come out, because often they're coming out faster than we can adapt to them, because you've got a bunch of people innovating all the time. What is something on the horizon with AI? And sorry, let me back up a little bit. I do want to ask you about something that you're excited about, maybe that is in the near future. But the reason I ask this is like, it's kind of a joke where like one of my friends is a software engineer, and he always complains. He goes, it's so funny. He works on like security software. I still don't understand. I just imagine it's like Norton. He just works for like Norton antivirus, but I don't think that's what he does. And he's like, it's crazy. I tell people I'm a software engineer, and they're like, my internet doesn't work. Like, can you? And he's like, I don't do that. That's not like, I'm not a tech. Like, I don't know, unplug your remote, plug it back in. But do you have any like just kind of having some fun with this? Like, do you have questions where people are like, when are robots going to come or something like that? Like, do you get just some outlandish questions?
Well,
that are
robots are here. You can pre-order a home robot as of 2 days ago.
Is that with Tesla?
So it's not the Tesla one. It's called X1 or N1 Neo. Neo is its name. But Tesla will follow, and it's pretty cool. It'll do all your chores, and it'll help you bring groceries in, and it'll wash your dishes, and it'll do your laundry, and it's out for pre-order. We can do it right after this. We can order you one.
I don't know if I need a robot.
That for me is going to be the future. I need a robot. I need two. And it's going to be, I foresee it like, especially with like Tesla, it's going to be cool. The thing costs 30, 40 grand. It's going to be like buying a car. You finance it, and it'll be cheaper than most of your, like getting it done yourself or hiring someone to do it. And for someone who has immigrated, doesn't have family here, and in a household where two people work with two kids, there's a lot of juggling going on, and a robot would change my life. So definitely excited about that.
I know people, like you get some people that are almost like this, like Armageddon, like it's going to be Terminator or something like that. But it's like when Google came out, everybody thought libraries were going to close, and like that books were going to go. I mean, there's more books being sold now than there were back in the day, because people are writing more, because the way that what the internet's done is allow people to publish their own books. So like I could write a book right now, and you see it in EO all the time. I mean, I think there's 3 or 4 people in our group that have self-published books, and technology has done that to allow people to like I don't know, access tools, I guess, that they wouldn't have had. I think people get freaked out that it's going to cause all this unemployment and it just changes. It just changes the way we work. I mean, the internet's changed, like books, like libraries haven't gone anywhere. I still go to the library on West Sahara sometimes, just because it's a nice place to hang out, and I sometimes like grabbing a book. But, is there like the robot thing? I think that's just kind of a tool. I mean, I don't know, like there's already millions of these. Look at what is it? Roomba, those the automatic. I have one that does the vacuuming and the mopping thing. It's kind of wild. And like, does it do as good as a job if a cleaning person comes to the house? No, but it does a great job of maintaining it. So maybe the robot's that way. So I think people don't realize how much of this stuff is already in our lives, but I haven't really put a lot of thought into that. I mean, if a robot gets to the point where they can, do your dishes and do, maybe, I don't know, laundry might be far-fetched so far, but like
it's advertised that way.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to totally change the way we function as people. And what I think that does is it really frees up time so you can focus on things that are more productive. I mean, even me just doing laundry, like that takes time. And if I could be out working and not have to worry about that. I'd be way more productive or doing things that I just enjoy doing as far as like
It's funny.
out.
It's a good conversation that, and I'd love to see where it actually goes. As human beings, I feel like inherently we just try and fill the space with like something. So you're gonna like even AI now. It's like speeds up a lot of things. It reduces the time for a lot. For me, running like essentially a single man consultancy. Yes, I've got a team, but the calls are all with me as it stands, and AI has made my life a lot easier because things are a lot more efficient and faster, but I somehow still find ways to fill up every single second with sometimes busy work. I hate to admit it, but
Well, you've heard the term, if you want something done, give it to a busy person. Like you just find people who get stuff done, just find time to do whatever's thrown at them at the same time. I mean, you mentioned you're married and you have kids and you're starting a new business and you're still figuring that out. Like, yeah, you just, I don't know, you figure it out. And if there's tools that come out all the time that streamline your life. But yeah, I always feel like I'm behind and I always feel like I have stuff to do, even when I'm like on vacation. But
you just nailed it. That's actually like the problem I had, coming back to that story about like the tool sort of paralysis, where it's like there's hundreds of tools, AI tools being released every day. That's why everyone's so overwhelmed, because you're like, oh my God, like I'm not staying ahead. I'm not staying ahead. No human being can be asked to learn 100 new tools and just stay ahead of all of this. And some are going to just be obsolete so quickly. It's like when the internet came out, right? It's like things just blew up, and then there were the winners and there were the losers. We're going to have a ton of winners and many, many more losers.
yeah, technology is just, I mean, I know the related, unrelated, but even like all this crypto stuff and like government trying to make rules around it and that, it's like everyone's trying to figure it out all the time. And this took me a long time to kind of like learn just my daily life. And really what taught me this was traveling. As Americans, or being in America, we've got people who migrate here who are, go-getters, and we just always want to work more. And when I realize when I'm in some other countries that don't have that mentality, whether it's I call it the hunter-gatherer mentality, where like they literally work where they have enough and then they're kind of off for a while. And not that that's a bad thing, it's just a different system. Like I remember I was in Panama one time and there was a developer that I had met. He was doing his condo high-rises. And he said it was a learning curve for him how he pays people that come to work, because if he paid them for like the month or for 2 weeks, they wouldn't show up. He's like, I had to pay them like weekly because culturally they're like, oh, I have money for the month. I'll go back next month or find a different job. And I was like, that's kind of funny. But I mean, even I was in Croatia, it was the same thing. People, they work seasonally. They work the entire summer while it's super busy. And then in the winter, when things slow down, they're like, okay, I'm literally not going to work for 4 or 5 months. And for me, that's like unfathomable. So even if I had a robot that did all my housework, I'd still feel like I need to do 12-hour days, just because that's like culturally what I've learned to do. So these tools don't I don't think I'm going to lose my job over them. And I mean, if they do, I guess I'll go be I don't know, a motorcycle tour guide or something, like whatever. That'd be fun. So maybe they will put me at it. What are some industries, and we're getting a little broader here as far as like AI as a whole. And I know we're trying to focus on what you do, which is ChatGPT, but I'm sure you get asked this a lot and you get people, what are some industries you think that are going to, manpower is going to kind of go down as far as like, these robots we're talking about that might make the workforce a lot less?
The white collar jobs are obviously the first at risk. Things like accounting and legal and what have you, it's being handled a lot by LLMs right now. But then after this robot release, everyone was like, no, like blue collar jobs are actually safe and all of this. It's hard to tell, but now you've got a robot that can fold your washing. I mean, we've had robots for a long time in like car manufacturing and all of that, and everyone like freaked out, like you said. But for me, it's, I think, coming back to your question around, like everyone's worried about this doomsday and what have you, where it's happening. It's all happening, and there's like no stopping this train. Yes, we can put in certain regulation, and it's very important to do certain things, but you've also got to embrace it at some point. Learn it, educate yourself. Otherwise, you will fall behind, and the gap is widening faster than ever before.
I was in Scottsdale, it's like 2 years ago, and I forget what
Waymo,
Waymo, where I took a ride with a driverless car, and I've been in driverless cars where there's a driver as as a like emergency factor. But I got in it and like I wasn't nervous at all. I got in it, and this wasn't me being brave. I was just kind of like, all right, like it didn't
I
go
feel
fast.
safer in a self-driving car, to be honest with you.
That, but like I don't know, like we Austin, who helps me with these podcasts and stuff like that. Yesterday we went to the county building, which is downtown, to do a podcast with a commissioner, and I cannot stand sitting in traffic. Like I'll be at my office sometimes and I have my car and I have to go to like, I don't know, somewhere on the strip or like downtown and it's 4:30 and I know I'll just call an Uber because I'd rather pay the $50 round trip and play on my phone and reply to some emails and stuff. And so, you know, these self-driving things are interesting, or even AI coming into like drones and that kind of stuff. Like I know that, again, I don't want to get too sidetracked, but I know.
No, but these are all the levels of AI. There's all these like different components, right? It's like generative AI, and then there's like full agentic AI, which is like self-driving cars, which are making decisions on the fly, etc. It's a wild, amazing world.
In Dubai, they're actually doing these AI drones that will take you from a port like downtown where it's really busy to the airport. So two people and luggage get thrown in this drone and it flies.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, that's crazy. This 4-propellered like air taxi. And like, I'm like, it's just like, it's wild. Like you think about that as a kid, like that's the Jetsons, like, you know, the futuristic kind of stuff. And I just think we're going to get to a point where even like transportation is going to get just so efficient. Like, I guess the people that are going to put out of business are these accident lawyers, the what do you call them? Personal injury lawyers. Like if you don't have cars running into each other. What's something like do you have like one example maybe of like one revelation that you had with you were working with somebody and you showed them a tool and it just totally blew their mind as far as like, oh my God, I can't believe I can do this with this tool?
Well, the biggest thing where I've seen these revelations is in the mindset shift. The second you change their mindset and show someone how and why and what they can really unlock, that's where like revenue is made in that. So yes, you can have a tool that can build you a presentation in 30 seconds and that will save time, and over time compounded, that'll make you or save you a lot of money, right? But when you can like restructure your business because you've now uncovered things that you wouldn't have even thought about because you've had a deep conversation with AI, that's where like the true magic happens.
And at the end of the day, that's why we're working. I said, if I'm, you know, work is stressful. You've got clients that want things done. And if I just wanted to go, you know, decrease income, I'd go live on the beach and be a bartender and surf. But I mean, that's the main point, is to increase revenue and decrease costs. And that's a really, really great point. I mean, I used an example. I can't remember what podcast it was on, but like even checking into hotels, it's crazy. Like I like we walk into like the Aria here in Las Vegas, for example, they look like those old iMac computers, and you check in with your phone, and your phone becomes your key card, and like you don't even need to interact with people, and they're mobile, so they can put them at the different access points to the casino, so that obviously nobody likes to wait in line, so that streamlines that thing. The other thing is at the airport, it was crazy. I have Clear, and like TSA is making you take, you know, facial recognition shots now, but I flew to, where did I fly to? Oh, San Diego. I flew to San Diego last weekend, and I had my driver's license and my wallet and my briefcase, and I went to Clear. They took the picture. Then the lady walked me to the front of the line of TSA. TSA took the picture. I never showed my ID. Now, one time they just walked me right through security. Had I forgotten my wallet, like it wouldn't have been a big deal. On the way back, they didn't do that. But I was like, this is crazy.
No,
like
that is awesome.
We're now at the point where like it's just doing facial recognition stuff, knowing who you are and walking you to the front. And I know I'm sure there's some AI element in there, but I don't know what it is. Well, that's really cool. Do you have you said, if somebody needs to get a hold of you and wants to talk about this stuff, what's the best way to get a hold of you? Whether it's a social media, LinkedIn.
Yeah. LinkedIn, Devin Karpes.
Okay. So I want to do this with you, Devin. It's always fun to kind of think of some stuff on the fly, but I just opened my ChatGPT app. I think we've had a lot of really good conversations. I literally want to ask ChatGPT that I have an AI consultant here doing a podcast with me. What are some good questions or topics to ask? I'm just going to ask for 5. Let's see what it does. I'm doing my podcast, Commercial Real Estate Uncovered. I've got Devin here, who is an AI ChatGPT consultant. I'm a commercial real estate broker. What are 5 questions or topics that I should ask him on my podcast? So I just dictated that to my app, and let's see what it comes up with. So what is this, about 10 seconds? Look at this, just boom, 5 questions. I'm just going to read them. I'm not even going to proof them. Let's see. How do you and AI changing how commercial real estate brokers source and underwrite market deals? So I guess another way of asking that would be, I think we covered this a little bit, but like if I'm going over, let's say, a purchase agreement, and I know you're not in the commercial real estate world, so I'll elaborate. So let's say I'm buying a building that's like $2 million, and there's certain times you have to put certain money in. So if I needed to know like what dates I needed to put, like what dates I needed to know when I need to put money in a certain account, like how would you use ChatGPT? Maybe a good example would be, I like to put those dates in my client's calendar, so I send them calendar invites. Could you use like a GPT so that I could maybe drop that in like a file into ChatGPT and say, hey, send my client these calendar invites?
Well, what you could do that through like an automated workflow, but you could have a custom GPT that would calculate and figure everything out around that. And then you could set up tasks in ChatGPT, which is essentially like reminders within ChatGPT to say, okay, cool, on this date, do this, on this date, do that, etc. And it can write up the email for you, come the date, etc. So for example, like your reminders app, you can say, cool, Devin's birthday is December 23rd. Great. But if you put a task into ChatGPT, you can say, Devin's birthday is December 23rd. Remind me every year. And every year, write me a cool, funny birthday message. So now you've been reminded, but you also have the message to send. That's like the adding in that component. But here's one of my favorite little tricks, right? It's like everyone's like, a lot of people still use the free ChatGPT, and the next tier up is $20. And it's like, you can actually get ChatGPT to pay for itself and then some over and over again. Like, just use it to find coupon codes or discount codes for any site. And when you're about to buy something, every month I save about anywhere between $100 and $200.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you're buying something online, you just ask it to find you a coupon code for whatever the product.
And sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it doesn't. And now with agent mode, it's one of the features inside of ChatGPT where it can go off and do its own thing. You can say, cool, find me coupons that you think are valid. Go to the checkout page, add it to a cart, go to the checkout page, add the coupons, and actually test their validity.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So it's just, I mean, and that's the kind of stuff that the saving money one's great. I mean, who doesn't like to save money?
Exactly.
But the one that you just use, like the reminders and stuff like that, like we have checklists we use, but we manually do it. So like when I'll use an example, get a property into escrow. So like if we don't do houses, but I'll just use it as an example. You get a house in escrow, you have certain dates that you need to have certain inspections done. And I always make sure to go through the agreement, excuse me, and send calendar reminders. And I use that timed email and text message feature on the iPhone to send to everyone on our team and our client to say, hey, just a reminder, tomorrow's this date, you need to do this. That way there's no nobody can say they forget because they got texted and called and it's popping up on their calendar. But the fact that you could just create a GPT that does that for you is unreal. Like that.
Well, it's a task that could do that for you. Yeah.
I'm sorry, a task. Thank you for clarifying.
Exactly.
I'm still using these words as like the interweb. I'm near on the interweb trying to figure out.
Put it on the line.
On the line. I just, I think I'm fairly good with tech, but when I get, I'm 39, and when I get some of these guys that are like, they grew up with this, like they're early 20s, and they've been using ChatGPT since they were like, I guess 2022. So they're like in their early 20s. They can use it to a whole.
Yeah.
It's just unreal what people can do. I'm going to ask one other one. Let's just see what else they come up with here. For a commercial broker, what are the best ways to actually use AI, save time, not just create more noise? I think we covered that one pretty good.
Well,
but if you have an answer to that.
One of the biggest things that I hear from commercial real estate is that every time you have an agreement, you've got your template, and then there's always like markup and what have you, and you're spending tons of money, millions of dollars sometimes on legal fees.
I don't know about millions, but a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Legal fees. I mean, we just did a purchase agreement. I think my client spent like 14 grand on a very simple edits, but they're
There you go.
expensive. He's like $800 an hour.
Exactly. Now, I've seen software that are fine-tuned, so like better than they have an LLM as their brain, like sitting in the background, right? But they're then fine-tuned further specifically for an industry or what have you, that compare documents, see, make recommendations, etc. So that when you send it to your legal counsel, they've only got an hour or two work because all the work's been done.
And they're probably using a ChatGPT.
Exactly. But if you're a lawyer using ChatGPT, you're probably even getting to a better place. But that's one component where
It's interesting.
And really, I've met a couple of clients where they're spending over $1 million a year on legal fees.
Absolutely.
And now, cool. What would you pay for a software that reduced that fee to $100,000 in legal fees?
That's a huge savings.
You pay $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 a month.
I have a friend of mine who's a transactional real estate attorney, not in Nevada, and she was telling me this. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but it was a fairly public case, and she told me that their legal bill, that their office billed almost $2 million to their client because of the size of I mean, this was over multiple years, but still, I was like, oh my God, $2 million, like that's so much money to spend. Especially if you lose, because then you have to pay the other person's legal fees. But I was shocked to hear that, like, you know, when we pay lawyers to look at leases or stuff like that, like, yeah, it's in the thousands, but
man, it's time.
It's time.
The AI can do it quickly. You can move on. You can get the deal done. That opportunity cost in itself is probably worth $1 million in your industry.
You know, a tool that I'll get back to these questions, but a tool that I have seen people use now is, you know, it's more common than not. People do Zooms, and I like doing Zooms if I'm with a client and I don't know, maybe their attorney will use an example, because you can see people's facial expressions and it kind of feels like a person a little bit more, joke with them a bit, make it a little less formal. But I've noticed people started using these AI recorders for the meetings, so they actually take notes on it, and then after the meeting you'll get like a summary of what you met about. And we started using that. I can't remember the name of it, but we have weekly calls with landlords just to tell them, you know, they're out of state landlords, and they you know, they want to know what's going on with their building. So we have these weekly calls, and I'm pretty good about just giving them updates when something happens. I'll text them or send out an email. But we get these summary of the meeting we have, and then it just emails it to me. I'll make some tweaks and I forward it to them and just say, hey, here's a summary of our email. And it's great. I mean, I don't really understand.
I built a system for myself just on that. And that's such a simple solution, which everyone uses, note takers, and there's a million of them and everyone has their preference. But that by itself just saves, if the email you would have written to update those clients took you 20 minutes and now it's taking you 5 minutes and you're doing 3 or 4 a day, that's hours saved. I've got a workflow where I take my meeting notes. I've trained a project in ChatGPT, which is essentially a folder structure, but you can give it custom instructions and like a file repository. So I did deep research on everything that is online that exists about me, everything inside my Gmail because of that connector. And I said, I need you to build myself like a tone of voice and a voice profile. I've now loaded that as the file repository. I've given it instructions. And all I do is I take my summary, I drop it into the project, and it knows automatically that the instruction is build me an email to go to clients, structured like this, action items, this and this with a due date. And that saves me literally an hour a day.
I mean, God, that's efficient. Like it's actually really mind blowing. It's revolutionary when you think about it. But the other thing that what you just mentioned does, a lot of times when I'm in meetings and even while we're doing this podcast, like I take notes, and if I break eye contact with you or if I'm looking at my notepad, you think I'm not paying attention. And that's the same thing with, you know, when you're on Zoom calls, if you look down or away from your camera or something, people think you're not paying attention, and that messes with their train of thought, which is the last thing you want to do if it's somebody who might be hiring you. And you don't have to concentrate on taking notes, because when you're done, you're going to get those notes back from the AI, which is a really big deal. I really try to make a habit of, when I go to meetings, I don't try to take notes if it's that big. I mean, I'll have my notepad in case it's something I really can't forget.
Yeah.
But I understand why some big executives, and I'll do this on our team, where I'll ask somebody to dial in while I'm having the conversation so that third person can take notes, so that when we're done, they can go back. That way I'm totally engaged and can be focused on it. So, I mean, what you just said to me is a huge deal because I don't like to take attention away from the conversations I'm having. So like they've even said like having your phone on the, like I brought my phone out because I wanted to ask ChatGPT, but even having the phone on the desk is distracting.
Yeah.
I think we both learned that on one of those EO things.
The one thing I said it in the beginning that you need to remain the leader and this like critical thinking human being as opposed to relying on it. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Idiocracy.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So I mean,
sad because it's
sad because that's happening, right? If we hand over thinking, then we're just going to become stupid. And you don't want to do that. So in terms of like even the meeting notes, it's like you're concentrating on the meeting, but now that you've got this assistant essentially sending it off, that's why I like to still bring my own thinking into the process and not just forward the meeting note taker, because then it's like, oh, you forget what you need to do, what was discussed and all of this. You need to like rewrite it, but in an efficient way.
Well, that's literally the example. I'll go back to my middle school days when spell check came out on Microsoft Word. I remember this really specifically. I had a friend of mine turned in his 8th grade paper, and the teacher just walked up to him in front of everybody and said, "Hey, did you just click spell check and click yes to everything?" He says, "Yeah, doesn't it check the spelling?" He goes, "Yeah, but it's not perfect." And it's like the same thing. Like if you go back, remember, it still does it, Microsoft Word, but now you get the red lines under it. But you used to go to spell check, and then the new window would pop up, and you would go through and correct the theirs, the different proper theirs and that kind of thing. So it's kind of the same thing. Like you do need to still put it in your own tone and adapt to what you sound like, because it's so obvious when somebody posts like on social media or you get an email it if somebody wrote it. So I post a lot, and like I use it absolutely for like outlines, but I go through and change the words, and if a sentence doesn't sound like it's something I'd say, I try to edit it. But yeah, you see somebody posting like every day, and it's like a graphic and text with those like, what would you call them, the M dashes
and context framing. It's like, well, because if this, then that. Like that's another telltale of AI. You need to add the human element. Like it's great for ideation, but you have to add that human element.
We need to get AI to read, if it was AI generated text, to just delete it from, like, I love LinkedIn. I'm on it all the time. I'm like,
me too.
I like keeping the feed alive. And I've actually had some executives on this podcast that they talk about that LinkedIn is a huge source of information for them, because they like to see what, brokers are posting, what people are asking, what things are selling for, noteworthy deals. And like, so it is really a news source. And that's why I still appreciate that platform. For the most part, you don't have people posting pictures of their kids and personal things, their bikini Hawaii trips. Like I don't need that on LinkedIn, but keep that on your Instagram.
I actually saw today by a creator I follow on LinkedIn. She was just in their office, and at the beginning of the year they like put heavy like emphasis on video on the platform.
LinkedIn did.
Yeah, and they were like turning it sort of like into like TikTok. But now I see that regular size videos as opposed to like portrait are performing better. And they're emphasizing on like giving higher reach to informational, knowledge-based stuff as opposed to these like TikTok-esque videos, which was sort of like contaminating the feed initially. Like your videos, for example, like I said, I'm not even in commercial real estate. I watch your videos and I'm like, whoa, I actually learned something. If I ever get into that game, I'll know what to do,
Well, that's what we're trying to do. I mean, I always joke, commercial real estate's fun for me, but it's not like one of these industries that gain huge followings on social media, like people who sell Ferraris or Ducatis or people doing hella skiing and like these things that are like really sexy and fun, like those build followings. But that's interesting you say that about LinkedIn, because that's actually something that I've noticed. I didn't know they purposefully did it, but I've been putting similar edited videos on LinkedIn and like Instagram, and like you can't do that. You need to change the video and you need to change the length of it. It's like YouTube. I think it's videos that are like 5 to 10 minutes, or that's like the sweet spot of uploading. And like attention span, I mean, I'll be the first one to say it. Like if I watch a video on, I'll just use this as an example. Let's say you need to change a tire or a brake pad. You've never done it. I go to YouTube to watch those. But if it's a 40-minute video, I'm like, come on, man. But even AI's jumped in now, and it'll actually help you find in the video with the thing that you need. So I guess.
Well, like, have you ever used Notebook LM?
I've not.
Oh my gosh. So it's a Google product. Unbelievable. You can load your sources. Okay, so a source being files, YouTube videos, because it's Google, you can actually just put a link to a YouTube video, text, any like files from your drive, etc. So you've given it sources. Then in the middle, you've got your chat window, which you can chat about it. And then its output, it's like AI Studio. You can say, output this as a podcast, or output this as a video, or a report, or an infographic, or what have you. And it just like, it's released as like a learning tool. So you can digest crazy videos. You can upload or input a 6-hour YouTube video and say, please, like, just give me the cliff notes here, and it'll bring them out.
That is so efficient. Because you know the expression where it says this meeting could have been an email?
Yeah.
Like often we'll have these long Zoom calls or something, and I'm like, this literally could have just been a 4-sentence email. Like, why did we have to get everybody at a certain time and day and all? It's just like, come on. That's crazy. I love it though.
It's a good tool.
I just used it. Notebook LM, which is a Google product. All right, let's go back to my list of questions here, and we'll see what other topics. I want to get as much out of you as possible while we're here, because AI and client communications. AI can write emails, property summaries, even scripts. How can brokers use that without losing authenticity and sounding like a robot? So, like, what's a good way where, I guess the better way of asking that question is, like, I know we have automated responses to emails, but are there, even within ChatGPT, like a way where they edit it based on the tone that the email gets on what type of AI response there would be? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about how you train and give context to the conversation. So you can start a new conversation every time you want to do this, and then you have to give proper context, and you want a good output, you have to give a good input. But ChatGPT or OpenAI have given you tools inside of ChatGPT that help do that. So for example, projects, as I say, folder structure, but you give it a set of instructions and files, so you can like do things that you know are repeatable, custom GPTs that can follow a set of instructions. So for example, I've got a project per client that is there to act as my account manager, help me grow accounts, help me negotiate, help me respond to emails. They're all done in my tone because I've fed and taught it what that tone is. Still, it'll give an output, and still I will add an intro, something funny. It just doesn't like necessarily pick up on that nuance, or, hey, remember we were discussing that we love riding motorcycles, or what have you. It's like those human touches you still need to add in, but it certainly makes it quicker to like give the structure and give you ideas of, oh, wow, I would have missed that because I didn't realize that was in the notes, or what have you, you know?
That, you just hit something, that missing something.
Well, even on that, I use a tool called Fixer, which is like an email assistant. And it is so brilliant. It's fyxer.ai. To be honest with you, that's probably one of my favorite tools. I would pay double. Essentially what it does is it categorizes your emails. I was waking up to hundreds of emails every morning, most of which are spam, and it's just like contaminating your whole inbox. This sorts everything out and it puts it into, okay, these are the ones you need to respond to. Essentially like a personal assistant managing your email box. But here's the best part. Exactly what you were saying. We often forget something. A new person enters the CRM, you email them, and now that's a potential sell on the line, but you get busy with work and you forget to message them back or follow up on an email that hasn't been responded to. Fixer will draft an email and say, okay, cool, send this to so-and-so because they haven't responded in 4 days, or this person hasn't, like, you need to follow up with this person. So all of these little components, and these are all the basic things. And funnily enough, that's where the magic actually lies. Like, people try and like go all these complex things and what have you. And it's like, let's build this crazy workflow. If you don't have your strategy and your thinking set as a business owner or as a leader in any role, if you automate or add AI to a broken process, you're going to just cause more chaos.
It's AI fundamentals.
Exactly.